Listen to the vibes.
Welcome, everyone, to another episode of Vibes. I'd love to welcome here Darren Bruce of the DJ Sessions. We're going to learn a little bit about him and what in the world is the DJ Sessions.
Well, thank you for having me on the show today, Kyle. I appreciate you having me here, and can tell you a little bit about what the DJ Sessions does. First of all, I got to let you know I love your backdrop. First of all, what I see right over the corner, your left eye, Batman. So you're a Batman fan, love Batman.
Definitely.
And probably my top DC favorite, probably my top character favorite of all time. I've really got into the animated series back when I was a kid, when Warner Brothers put that out. I just have always loved what DC did with Warner Brothers and the DC animated series did there. Of course, Marvel came in later and did the MCU and blah, 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 blah. We all know that is the rest is history there. But Batman, yeah.
And by the way, I met Kevin Conroy.
Yeah?
Yeah, the voice of Batman. Yes, awesome guy, too.
You know, I know we're not talking about the DJ Sessions. We're talking about Batman. But I was told there was something recently that happened where I think you might know more of this if you know more of the lore about the filming and all that, the anime series, is that somebody wanted to do something and they said they weren't going to be able to get Chris to come and do it, or he said, no, I'm not doing it if it isn't this director. Do you know anything about that? Did you hear anything about that?
Not
they
sure.
wanted the voice, and he it's not Chris anymore. It's somebody new, from what I understand.
Kevin Conroy. Kevin Conroy passed away.
I'm sorry, Kevin. Yeah.
Yeah, he passed away a few years ago.
Maybe that's why. I don't keep up much on that side of the fence there. I just watch the show. Okay. Well, anyways, the DJ Sessions. Enough of my background and geekiness, which I can go on a whole nother topic of that for hours and hours. The DJ Sessions is a live streaming podcast series that features celebrity DJs, producers, and electronic music industry professionals from around the world. We started the show back in 2009. After coming out of a series that I produced called ITV, a broadcast television series that was approved to air on 13 Fox stations. And we had 9-10 separate episodes approved on 13 stations on the West Coast, and found that was a lot of money to have to raise to do that. And this tune of, well, we were lowballing it at the time, but to a lot of people, it's a big number, $32 million a year to produce the series and, buy the airtime and get on the airs. As we were doing this all independently, we weren't picked up by any major studios or anything. And so, I'd been podcasting for years, since like 2005, but then got into live streaming in 2009 and saw podcasting and live streaming as a medium. It's like, hey, we can distribute 24 hours a day, 7 days a week around the world. People can subscribe to the shows. We can go live. We can chat with them, which is ironic because one of the features that I wanted when I did my first broadcast television series back in 2002 called Phantasmagoria that aired here in Western Washington on the Fox affiliate station here. When Fox was cool. No politics. I know, no politics. But, we aired late night. One of the things I wanted to do is when the show aired live on broadcast television, I wanted to have a chat room on our website and people could chat with us live while the show was on broadcast television, which now set the way forward clock 23 years later. Well, I guess not a little less than 20 years later, maybe 15 years later, you actually had live streaming. You could put something live and people could chat with you live in your live chat, and we have over 26 separate 100 episodes that we've done over the last 16 years, taking some breaks here and there. I just came off of an 8.5 month kind of hiatus, regroup, refocus, re-strategize, rebrand type of soul searching mission statement. Why am I doing this kind of thing?
I know what you mean.
After being at a huge event, we were in Germany, Berlin last year for a major event called Rave the Planet. And this event gets over 350,000 people, and they have 25 double-decker semi-trucks with nightclub sound systems on the back, partying for like 8 to 10 hours, just driving around by Brandenburg Gate and do this big main statue, and it's just party. And I'd never been to anything like that in my entire life. And streaming live from the back of the truck, we took #1 in the world for almost 8 hours. It was just a phenomenal event. I kind of came back from that wondering, what do I do now? Because we do a lot of stuff with the DJ Sessions. It's not just a show that streams DJs live, or we started out like that, but it also includes interviews, interviews with the DJs, DJ sets, but kind of switched the format over the years, especially when Pandy hit. And every major DJ, we were kind of in a niche on our own, and we were considered what's called a featured partner by Twitch. We were featured partner with Ustream and Livestream, but then ended up having to move over to Twitch because IBM bought out Ustream, and that kind of tanked our plan with them. But moved over to Twitch, and they welcomed us with open arms, and made us a partner, which if you knew the caveats to become a partner with Twitch at that time in 2018, it was not an easy task. A lot of people are making partner, and congratulations to them, but it wasn't something that it was easy to do with Twitch. And so we were one of the first real live streaming DJ shows with Twitch in 2018. And I sat on that for a while and didn't really realize how powerful that was. And then one day they put us to the front page of Twitch. Wow. And that's when we really saw the other sites. I don't want to knock Livestream and Ustream, loved our partnerships with them, but they really didn't focus on us like Twitch did. And Twitch put us to the front page of the site, and I wasn't ready for this. We had over 2,500 viewers watching. The chat room was just blowing up like crazy. Luckily, where we were at, the bandwidth for our internet was like a 2 megabit upload connection. And luckily, we did not drop the episode the whole 2 hours we were up there. And I just remember going crazy like that. And at that time, I realized, oh, wow, our website isn't what I want it to be. Our social media, everything was not looking the way I wanted to be dressed to go to the prom or to, tuxedo ball or, president's dinner, whatever it is, we just didn't look the part. So I sat back and got a new website and kind of built stuff up. And while we were doing DJ sets and shows, it was very far and few between. What hadn't caught on to the mainstream. And when I say mainstream, I mean the big names wouldn't look at it as a medium until Pandy hit. And then every DJ and every electronic music brand and every label and everyone in the world jumped online and wanted to do a podcast or a live stream. So I kind of sat back in the first part of 2020, and I was just like, actually almost till the end of 2020, I was like, what are we going to do now? Because we couldn't bring DJs over to our studio. There was nobody out on the street to take our mobile studio out to play in the truck. No crowds, no events, no nothing happening. So basically, I sat back and said, well, what do I really realize? What do I want the DJ sessions to become? And I always wanted to be a destination place where people could come to, and every day, almost twice a day, come by and you're going to see new content on the site. Whether it's in the form of an interview or a DJ's mix or a news story, there's going to be something there to come back to, always changing, not a static website by any means. So I started realizing, I think we were talking right about this before the show, pre-show, is that a lot of people got comfortable with Zooming. Mm-hmm. They understood. They knew the technical aspects. They knew the backdrop. They understood the lighting because work was making you do it. Your friends were making you do it. And you were making yourself look good on Zoom. And finally, the world clicked. I would have never had thought to do a Zoom interview with a DJ overseas. It was always done in person when they were on the ground, whether I was in Miami or Seattle, Portland, Amsterdam, wherever. Well, Amsterdam, I guess, was a little bit few years ago, but long story short, we always were on the ground in-person interviews, kind of like red carpet stuff. And, I'd only get 10 minutes with the DJ behind stage because they'd show up to play their set, 10-minute interview, nightclub music's boom, 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 lighting's all off, I got to come back and edit this, and it's just a pain. Well, now that everyone kind of jumped up to Zoom and got on board and knew what to do, now I could get these DJs from halfway around the world and get them on for an hour and get 16 to 18 in-depth questions. I could also ask them for an exclusive mix because all the DJs now are streaming live from home. And they built home studios with cameras. So making a mix is like, yeah, I got a mix for you right here. I'll just go bounce something out for you and make it an exclusive mix that only airs on the DJ sessions. And that was kind of the whole new premise. I didn't pull what I grew up with watching MTV go from music television to music news to content to no more music videos,
right?
Music television. Like, okay, I didn't ever want to shy away from having the DJ sets be the focal point of the show, but I wanted more of a news network. So now, our schedule is set up to do 8 interviews a week which is 32 interviews a month, 32 hours of content. You'll see where this math goes. Out of that, I'll get 6 to 8 exclusive mixes. So, 38 to 40 hours worth of content. You throw in our weekly mobile sessions, which is another 4 hours of content a week. So that adds 16 hours of content there. So now we're at 54 to 56 hours of content a month. I'm constantly doing other events. In August, I have a event called Cantana Fest, which has replaced our a local hemp fest, where hemp fest started here in Seattle, Washington. And that's going to, using our silent disco technology that we use, which we're really proud of and really love it. I don't know if you know what silent disco is, but if you haven't tried it, it's pretty damn cool. Rather than amplified music, we put the music through wireless headsets. They go about 1,000 meters out from our stage, but you can have multiple channels. So I can have multiple DJs playing at the same time and streaming live at the same time and recording at the same time. So when my production, when I go out and film, would be 4 hours for a DJ, turntable setup and all that fun stuff, I can now have 2 DJs playing at the same time and get 8 hours of content.
Wow.
Or 3 and have, 12 hours. 4, have 16 hours of content produced in one sitting.
Wow.
In one taping period. So, working with going in Cantana Fest, we'll add more footage, our rooftop events, which will also add via Done Silent Disco, which will add another 8 hours of content once a month. And then we'll start doing our Silent Disco series here starting in Seattle, where we're looking to push probably, the goal is by Q4 this year, we'll be at over 100 hours of content a month at the DJSessions.com, including interviews, our events, and more. We also have our virtual reality nightclub in VR chat, where all this goes to, which is awesome. It's called Beta. You can find it in VR chat and get in there. We're doing some updates to it, some really cool stuff, where we'll be syndicating other channels. We'll have a dual screen player in there. So you'll have the DJ sessions on like channel 1. Then you can click the channel and it'll play the syndicated content of other live streamers coming in, other content that we want to bring into the club. We're looking to add in open mic, record release parties, all types of cool stuff there. Our website is now finally getting into version 3.2. We're on version 3.0, got built out in around 2020, was it early 2022? No, 2021. I think I started working on version 3, and there was some stuff that I had built into the website we're now releasing. So 3.2 will be coming out here. It's out, but it's kind of in beta. But we just launched our album store, where now we can release tracks for artists in our store and put the albums up in the store. We can do albums, singles, and then we have our site-wide player as well that plays. Where you can, as you navigate through the site, you can press our player and listen to the music, put up custom playlists in there, and the album store. And the album store right now takes the artist out. It's like our first test pilot artist is a friend of mine I've been working with for years, Mad Malcolm. First guy who did music for my show, Phantasmagoria, back in 2002. Very interesting story how we met. But, Mad Malcolm put his first album up in there. We've tested it out. It works. When you click a link, it takes it right to the Apple Music Store, and you can buy the tracks right there at Apple Music Store. So kind of cool. Just helping out our overall mission statement of the DJ sessions of exposing people to artists they may not know about. We'll work with the big names. I'd love to have the big names on, but you got to start somewhere. And with over 2,600 episodes in the past 16 years, we just started the mechanism again of reaching out and getting more people interviewed on, and then reaching out to podcast series like yours to tell more people about our show. So yeah.
Are you a DJ yourself?
I love getting that question. No, but I play one on TV. No, I get that a lot because the show started. I took my talent of playing around with video cameras at the age of 6. Got involved with public access right out of high school at 18 years old. Worked on that for a number of years, off and on. Got into broadcast television, executing my shows to Fox and NBC affiliates here in Seattle, and then obviously creating this series called ITV, which then got approved on all the network stations, and then dabbled into podcasting and kind of made a mark there. Then later on got into live streaming, and the whole backbone of the DJ sessions is basically a podcast series, but live streaming is the focal point. All our interviews are done live. Our sets are usually done live, except for the exclusive mixes that get sent into us. Those are done live. Although we could probably set it up and have them done live if we wanted to coordinate efforts with somebody. That's not too hard. I just give them a line of code and boom, they're pumped into our servers. So that will happen. That will probably happen. Yay. In the future. But, just I always wanted to be an executive producer. And a lot of people, when they get behind the camera, especially in their youth, they want to become the next Spielberg, Lucas, Tarantino, Scorsese. I want to be these filmmakers or independent indie filmmakers. And in Seattle, you get a lot of independent filmmakers. You don't get a lot of people saying, I want to be an independent television show producer. And so I look at like Lauren Michaels or Aaron Spelling or Merv Griffin, all those daytime, nighttime, people that made shows Saturday Night Live and said, that's kind of, I want to do that. There's a movie I sometimes reference when people ask me about getting started in inspiration. Sometimes it always clicks back in. There was a movie called Soap Dish, had a pretty well-known cast: Kevin Kline, Robert Downey Jr., Whoopi Goldberg, Sally Fields. Basically, it was a play, but they made it into a movie. And one of the things is the exec comes in. It was about a soap opera. It was kind of on its way out. And Elizabeth Shue plays in it as well. Long story short, they're doing this soap opera, and the executive producer comes in. He sits down at the table with all of them, the writers, talent, everyone. And he goes, you know what? This show is dying. In a nutshell, this show is dying. You moved us to the Caribbean. You paid all this money for this fake wave in the background. You know what? The show is expensive and boring. 2 words that I don't like. You know what 2 words I do like? Cheap and peppy. And so I've kind of, it always has stuck with me. I don't want to make my shows cheap and peppy, but definitely, like we were talking pre-show, going from a broadcast meeting where you go out and you film with 3 cameras, have to bring it back to the studio for a 10-minute interview, edit that 10-minute interview, chop it up, then encode that interview, then export that interview, then upload that interview for 10 minutes worth of footage. You're looking, and then you got to go out and film it. Don't forget and bring all the equipment back in. You're looking at 4 hours production for a 10-minute interview, 4 hours of time. It's like, whoa. When now I can live stream, multicam, stream it live, hit button when I'm done. I might come back if I'm not running it through OBS and my setup there, where I can overlay all the graphics on top of it. And then all I got to do is go in and trim that file and boop, upload it. Done, next. And so, we're trying to knock out and show sponsors, show people that if you really get your mechanism down, you can churn out a lot of content. And that's why, at the DJ sessions, we want to be known as there's always something different. We always want people coming back. And that's something that I see a lot of people do in the industry over years. I always tell them, hey, get your own domain. Get your own website, get your own hosting, put your shows up there, or figure out a hosting solution, because one of these days, not that Twitch is going to go anywhere because Amazon backs them up, not that YouTube's going anywhere because Google backs them up, but, I like to control my content. So when I go out there, I said, go to the djsessions.com, subscribe to our newsletter, follow us on our socials. You'll know when new stuff's coming out and it's going to hit, or subscribe to our podcast. It's going to download directly to your computer, directly to your phone. You'll be able to watch it, take it on the go, and know when something is updated, rather than saying, oh, no, I love Twitch and I have nothing against Google or any other companies, but I send them there. And then there's 100 more channels. At the end of my YouTube video, boom, it pops up 9 other videos that aren't related to me. Twitch, It's like, oh, I don't like what's going on. I'm going to go click on somebody else that I follow. But if they're on the DJ sessions, they're there. They're our attention, they're here. I used to have my first site had a player where you could kind of navigate through the basic pages of the site while the player still played. Right. I wish I could do that again. It's a little bit of coding, a little bit of effort on our part. But, we want people there. They can always open up a second browser if you think people are keen to, okay, I'm still going to listen, but I'm going to go over here and check out the rest of the site. We have over 700 news stories published every month coming into the site. Again, the interviews, the content, it's all there. We have our store, the new album store. Lots of stuff's going to be flying through. So we're super excited. That's me talking for however long I've been talking for.
Well, the thing I like most about this kind of medium is, yes, you get to, if you were to go out and talk to people on the street, you talk to them, like you said, maybe 10 minutes, and then they have to go do their thing, and there's no real intimacy there. Whereas when you're on a platform like Zoom, you get to really know who that person is, and you get to maybe bring stuff out of them that you normally wouldn't when you're out live.
Yeah,
So,
absolutely. And the funny thing is, you know, I didn't necessarily, I mean, I guess I just threw myself in front of the camera and started doing this.
right.
I can go back and I probably have the DV tape. I keep all my tapes from all my old stuff in storage. I probably could find the DV tape somewhere where I went to that saying, the show must go on. So if I didn't have a host, I'm going to host the show. I did 67 takes on an intro, a 35-second intro to my show. And after that, I stopped counting. And I probably did another 25 takes after that. And, you know, there were multiple factors that were in play against me. But long story short, I was never supposed to host the show. But I wasn't going to let that stop me and say, oh, I'm not going to do a show until I have a host, or just rely on a host. If somebody wasn't there, I got to pick up the pace and get on board. So now I do an interview with somebody, and it feels natural, you know, to do it. And I hope I'm doing well. Maybe I could do a little bit less on my hand movements, and maybe a little bit less on this, maybe a little less awesomes and right-ons and you know, those kind of checks that I could probably go through, and maybe I can have AI start cleaning that stuff up for me.
Hey,
Ooh, I love AI. That's fun stuff. But you know, it's just, again, it's like we would said in your pre-show warm-up or pre-show talk, is kind of let it flow, let it go. You know,
exactly.
and I always tell my audience, because we have an hour, sometimes you get a little worried. You're in question number 7 or 8, and you're 16, 20 minutes into the show, and I'm like, how am I going to fill this next 40 minutes up? It doesn't have to be an hour, but I try to go longer, and I let them know, hey, you can talk for as long as you want. Longer answers are better than shorter answers.
Yep.
You know, and it gives me something to work with. But I don't edit anything. I let it go. If their phone rings in the middle of the show, I let them take the call. My phone doesn't ring because I turn it off. Lesson learned too many times.
Yep.
Don't need to hear the James Bond theme song in the middle of my shows. But yeah, so that's kind of it. What's up?
Oh, I was going to say, it is the DJsessions.com.
Correct. The DJsessions.com. You'll find all our socials there, all our past episodes. You can go back and actually watch if you want to go all the way back in time. You might be able to search it. Let's check this out really quick. You'll actually be able to see one of our first episodes that we did. Let's see if I can get in here really quick. This shouldn't take too long. But yeah, our first episode in 2009, when the actual first iteration of the DJ sessions took place. Let's see if we can get in here to archives and search Darren Bruce, see what happens. It's some awesome. Sorry, we're off screen right now. I actually did, because of that question you asked earlier, if I'm a DJ or not. Oh, that's going to pop up everything with my name in it. Okay, well, if you scroll all the way back in time through all our episodes, there's going to be a lot there with my name on it. But long story short, you can go back and check out that first episode in 2009 we did in my living room of my apartment with my buddy Alex Eagleton at the time of doing that show. And it's just sort of morphed into what it is now. I forgot where I was going with that, but I was going to do something. I was going to bring that up and see if I could bring up the show. But yeah, our website's there. Our event listings are there. We'll start listing the events when we do our live interviews as well, so that people can know and know who's coming up on the show and when. And then we'll also put our syndicated show lists up there as well, so people know, because we'll have the syndicated player on the site. Again, our mission statement really is just to help artists. If they're signed, they're big, great. If they're not, okay, great. You know, we want people that are motivated, they're passionate about what they're doing, they love their art. And I love electronic music. It's not that I don't love other kinds of music. It just happens to be that the DJ sessions is about DJs playing music, and the rise of DJ culture has been huge over the last, I've been nightclubbing for 35 years, but, you know, for the past 25 years, it's kind of go through the roof and become kind of the new band. Everyone wants to be a DJ now. Is kind of the thing. You got 6-year-olds that are DJing now, you know, and cutting it up. And It's going to be interesting to see where AI takes it. I just saw an article recently where I believe it's Timberland signed the first AI artist to his label.
Wow.
Not a real person, first AI artist signed to a label.
That's crazy.
And so very interesting there. I'm kind of anticipating, and I hope I don't get crucified for this saying this, but anticipating seeing the first AI DJ.
Wow.
I'm sure it's there. I'm sure it's able to be done. When you look at the mathematics, I've talked with a lot of artists about this, about one, music creation, AI music creation, but two, AI DJing, is that the thing that will be lost will be the soul.
Yes.
But doing my ChatGPT, my AI courses that I'm doing, if you know the right prompts and you're tailor making it to do specifically what you wanted to do, you can get AI to do some pretty amazing. I won't use the 4-letter word, but it starts with an S. Some pretty amazing stuff. That's a 5-letter word. But it's pretty cool. It'll be interesting to see. I know what I was going at. I'm not a DJ. People ask me if I'm a DJ or not, but I made a bio on the site that is my DJ name is the DJ Sessions, the ... DJ Sessions, and kind of a parody kind of play on that. You had asked early in the show if I'm a DJ, but no, I love DJs. I love dancing. I love music. I love having a great time. And there's so much talent out there that I don't have to get behind the decks to do that. I'd rather showcase somebody else than myself. Hence the fact why I already showcase myself doing these interviews. I don't want to. Hey, if you're looking to be an interview and you like electronic music, hit us up. thedjsessions.com.
Well, I will put your links in the description just to make it easier for folks to find you. But man, thank you so much for coming on the show today.
Yeah, super excited. Super excited to be here, and thank you again. I'm glad we were able to connect.
Again, thank you, Darren, and I also want to thank all you folks out there. If you are new to the channel, I hope you'll come back. Please hit that subscribe button for my regulars. You guys are awesome because you make it possible for me to do this. Until the next one, everyone, please take care. Be kind to one another. God bless, and peace.
We hope you enjoyed this episode of Listen to the Vibes. You can catch us on Buzzsprout or wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts, and on YouTube. Follow us on Facebook at The Vibes Broadcast Network